Hey you guys, this is me just making a video. It's just about something that I've been thinking about because I think many of us that are, I guess, somehow a part of the new age kind of community. I don't like to associate myself really as being like a new ager, to be honest. Notice I think it's a little bit funny to me, that word. Because I kind of feel like so many things I incorporate into the new age aren't even new. So it's a bit like, well, I don't really know about using that word. So to sort of describe my beliefs and everything. I feel like I'm the kind of person that I just take pieces of everything and sort of throw it all together and just put my own stamp on it, and that's kind of how I like to do things. I don't really like to be a part of like groups so much, especially when it comes to spirituality. I just like being free, and I just like kind of just going with what feels right and what feels like um is the way I'm supposed to go. And that kind of way of approaching spirituality, I think, has served me well in the years that I've decided to kind of move away from any kind of like organized religion and just to kind of follow my own path. um, has been really good for me. Now, the thing that I wanted to talk about is, obviously, like, a lot of us hear about all this manifestation stuff, about manifest destiny, the law of attraction, all of these other things that we talk about in terms of essentially just getting what we want out of life, what we feel that will make us happy, what we like to work towards, what we would like to change, what we would like to see improve in our lives, all of that kind of stuff. And obviously, like, so much money has been made with this whole law of attraction thing, so many books, so many classes, courses, all of these kind of things. And I think so many people either find that it doesn't necessarily always work for them, like the ideas of going and making vision boards and making on just visualizing yourself being successful and being on this high vibration that we're told that we're always supposed to be on, which just drives me crazy. To be honest, like, I just reached a point where I was just so tired of hearing those words like high vibration. And obviously when you are, I guess, a part of this kind of I don't know. I don't want to label it so heavily because I don't really feel like I'm a part of some kind of group. So I don't so much want to say spiritual community. I don't want to say that. But what I do want to say is, like, when you do watch these kind of, spiritual centered type of videos, especially quite more modern, people making these kind of videos, and it's kind of like, you hear that word so much, and it drives me crazy at this point because I just feel like this is the truth. The truth is, and I know the truth is very subjective. Your truth may not be my truth, may not be somebody else's truth, okay? So that's one thing. Not everything that is, told as gospel really and truly is gospel. But I feel like this whole thing about you only being able to manifest if you're on like a high vibration is total crap. Like, it's total BS. Like, it does not matter. I know, like, some people are gonna be like, why are you saying that? Or this whole thing about, oh, like, if you're like really negative, all you're gonna do is draw a whole bunch of negativity to you. To a certain extent, I do believe that, but I don't necessarily believe that 100% either. Because of the law of opposites as well. Like, there's so many other universal laws that also operate, so it's not just the law of attraction. And then it's like, even then, if you do just look at the law of attraction about this idea of what you put out there is always what you get back, that's not always going to be the case. It all depends on the circumstances of things and just fate and destiny and how things are supposed to itself out. Now, the reason why to me, like, this whole thing or being told constantly about staying with a high vibration, I feel is quite dangerous, is because of the fact that I feel like there are so many people that are either faking this feeling, or making it seem like, they can't deal with day-to-day lives, or can't deal with difficult circumstances, or can't deal with facing the facts of certain things, because of this idea that you're just supposed to be positive all the time. It's like, well, what do you do when you lose your job, or what do you do when your parent dies, or what do you do when your relationship goes south? It's like, you can't have this idea in your mind that, oh my gosh, I have to constantly be happy and have to constantly pretend everything is okay. It's like, how does that make things okay? Like, to me, I've always told people, and I tell people all the time in readings, I tell people all the time just when I'm giving advice, I feel like it's important for people to feel exactly how they're supposed to feel. Like, whatever shows up for you is how you're supposed to feel, and you're supposed to go with that. You're not supposed to resist it. You're not supposed to pretend like it's something it's not. You're not supposed to ignore it. You're supposed to just accept it and just go with it and just express it. That's how I feel about emotions and about this high vibration nonsense that people just keep on going on about. It's fine to be on a high vibration, and it's lovely to be on a high vibration most of the time, but at the same time, I don't think that that should be just our focus. In sort of our spiritual lives, our focus is just to be on this higher vibration. It's like, come on now. Like, we have to face the reality of life, that not all life circumstances are happy. Not everything that's going on in the world is joyful. Like, come on now. Did we not see the images of, like, slaves in Libya? Like, did we not see that? Or just like in the Caribbean not that long ago, there was, all these hurricanes and all this other stuff. Are we pretending like people are just having this amazing experience in life all the time, and that we are also, and we're just supposed to live that way? It's like, I just believe in being realistic about things and really allowing our true feelings and our true emotions to surface and expressing that. The reason why I also think that to me, this whole idea of being on a high vibration and manifesting is kind of nonsense at times as well, is because you don't have to be on a high vibration to manifest. You could be angry and manifest. You can be sad and manifest. You can be whatever you want to be emotionally and still manifest something that's positive for yourself. I mean, a good example of that is, think about like a time in your life where you was really worried about an outcome of something. Everyone has experienced this before, so I'm sure you'll be able to think of something. Like, there was a time in your life where you was really worried about the outcome of something, either a bill you didn't know how you were gonna get paid, or maybe a relationship situation was worrying you, maybe a job situation, you applied for something, or you're having an interview and you were really worried about how you did, you haven't heard back yet, and then you finally get the confirmation that you have the job, or the bill that you were so worried about, somebody helps you out with it, or something shows up and the situation works itself out. It's like, well, why did that happen if you were worried or you were scared or whatever else? Why did it still end up turning out positive for you? Because the thing is that manifestation really is all about the action that you take. That's the thing. And to be honest, this took me a while to really be able to get rid of all the other nonsense that has been put out there in terms of how you're supposed to manifest or what helps you manifest. Most of the other stuff like is nonsense. What really, and I'm saying this because I've done those things, like the vision boards, the visualization, the trying to be positive, the all of this other stuff, writing it down, making it happen. Come on, please. Most of these things, it don't really work. Or this thing of the whole Jim Carrey thing, where they were like, oh, Jim Carrey wrote down on a piece of paper like a certain amount of money that he wanted, like some millions, and he put it in his wallet, and then years later he got those millions. But the thing that people kind of gloss over is the fact that it took Jim Carrey how many years, like, to make those millions after putting that piece of paper that he wrote down whatever amount on It took him so many years to finally get to that point. And so it's about the work you put into things. It's like if you want something to manifest, more than likely it's just not gonna fall from the sky. Of course, sometimes things just fall into place. You know, sometimes fate just lines up and it's like, okay, this is gonna happen for you. And it may happen with ease. But there's so many events that have to happen really before you get to that point of manifestation. It's more than not, or more often than not, it's not just going to be a fast situation. It's not just going to be instant. So it's about the steps that you take beforehand. And so it's like just in Jim Carrey's case, like before he became this celebrity. And plus I'm not just using Jim Carrey because I think he's some great guy. Like he has all these scandals that he's associated with. It's not for me to judge him or whatever he does, but I'm just focusing on this one story because this was something that at one point it was like all over the internet and people would talk about and all this other stuff. And so yeah, so in his case, it's like he would have had to be studying to be an actor. He would have had to go on auditions. He would have had to go and network with other people, find out about different auditions, jobs, everything else that's going on in his field. Like there is a whole bunch of work that goes into this before you get to the end point. So I just feel like it's about taking the steps. And even with I've had just a really because I think about things a lot. I think about everything in my life a lot. And the way I even approach tarot readings have changed now. And even the way that I view myself as a reader has changed, because I now fully get it and fully grasp the fact that I don't want to just make predictions at all for people. And I've always had an issue with this idea of predictions. It's like that's not what I feel really helps a client really. I believe what really helps a client is to be able to give them the steps, give them assistance in actually making what they want happen, versus just saying, oh, this is going to happen or this ain't going to happen. It's about, okay, even if there are challenges, what can you tell this person in practical steps that gets them what they want? Because there are practical steps that you can take towards getting anything you want. But it's for one, it's about how prepared you are to do it, how prepared you are to put the work in. And secondly, it's about, do you have the know-how? Do you have the ability, to do these steps? Can somebody explain them to you? Or can you research and find out about them? And then it's about putting it into action and making it happen. So there's so many different levels to this. And it's just, I just feel like I have sort of reached the point of sort of getting rid of all the excess that just doesn't help and that just isn't relevant anymore. I think what's kind of helped me do that is last month I felt guided to do shadow work, and I've never really done shadow work properly. And that experience was just what I needed. And I felt like I shouldn't have put it off for such a long time. But I knew exactly why I was putting it off, because the work that I was doing on myself at that time was so deep. And it's like, it's like something my brother said, which is so true. He's like, the hardest thing you can ever do in your life is face yourself. And it's like, when you really put yourself in a position to really face like everything you are, the good, the bad, the ugly, and everything, it's not easy at all. It's very emotional. It's very challenging. But at the same time, by the time I felt ready to kind of say, okay, I'm going to give myself a break. I'm going to stop with the shadow work. I'm going to just leave that alone. When I feel like coming back to it again, I'll come back to it. But the time that I spent, which was the majority of October, doing that work, and I think October was a really great month to do that. You know, dealing with you know, the energy of, you know, the veil being thin and all that kind of stuff. And plus October is really, I think, one of them months where it is very, you know, that's when it starts to get dark, dark earlier, you know, especially on the side of the world where I am. And so it's like all of that stuff, it just helps to do that kind of work. And I've been really in tune with the moon energy, which is something I'm always in tune with anyway, because I have the my moon in Cancer anyway. So yeah. That comes with its challenges as well as its benefits. So, but all of that stuff and all of that work has just made me reach a point where I'm just like, you know what? It's not about all of this, focusing on just the surface level stuff. It's about going deeper than the surface level. If you really want to manifest some stuff, if you really want to make some changes in life, it's not about just, you know, skimming over things and trying to bring about things, but you're not really wanting to really dissect who you are, what you're about, where you're coming from, all of that stuff. Because when you do, it puts you in a position where you become so powerful, because then you're able to know yourself to an extent where it's like you can say, okay, this is how I'm going to get this, because I know how I can achieve this, because I know who I am and I know what works for me. So it's all of that stuff. So I'm telling you, manifesting is not what a lot of people think it is, and it's not what a lot of people are saying it is. It's, you know, a whole process. So that's the video I wanted to make. I've also put my site together. My site is finished. You can order a reading for 2018 with me. So do check out the link in the description box. I'll be seeing you guys. Bye.